All right. Well, we're probably going to have a few more people jumping on the line. We did have 11 people registered today. But I think we'll go ahead and get started with some introductions. If you could tell me, who you are, what company or organization you're with, and a little bit about what you're hoping to learn today, that would be awesome. Stephanie, we'll start with you.
My name is Stephanie Heineman, and I'm from the Carlin Memorial Library in Beamer, and I just run these. Well, I kind of host it, so if anybody shows up, they can listen in, but so far nobody's shown up here, so I'm just going to listen.
Awesome. Jean?
Hi, I'm Jean Isler in Holdridge, and I'm a self-employed virtual assistant, and I'm starting a new project with a partner, and we're going to put up a marketing website for a special service, and so we're working on a marketing project for clients, and this popped up in my email, and it's just the perfect time for me to get a refresher on marketing, particularly social media marketing. So, perfect timing.
That works out well.
Yeah.
And Abby, how about you?
All right, I'm Abby Brex. I work at Dauphin Area Development in Lexington. We are a nonprofit business, and we focus on three areas, really: economic development, community development, and workforce development. And I just became the marketing coordinator here about a month ago, and I'm just hoping to learn some new things from this training.
Awesome. This will be good. And I've seen a couple more people have joined us on the join.me, but they have not chimed in yet here. So hopefully they'll call in soon so they get the audio as well. But we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Heidi Garvin, and I'm a program services consultant for Grow Nebraska. So I, wear a wide variety of hats, but one of my favorite parts of the job is to get to help with presentations like these. So our third Thursday trainings, if you haven't participated before, they are free trainings that we offer the third Thursday of every month. They're on a wide variety of topics. So like Jean said, this one just happened to work out well for her. But we do focus on, everything from packaging, if you do e-commerce, to how to get a loan, different things like that. And trainings like these would not be possible without help from our sponsors. So we do want to give a big shout out today to the local food promotion program of the Agricultural Marketing Service. They're through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they do provide some of the funds so that we can keep trainings like these free and open to the public so that anybody who needs them can get them. A little bit more about me. I did just recently become a Constant Contact authorized local expert. I've been working with them for years now, and so it was about time that I got that done. And so we're going to be using quite a lot of their data today as we talk about how you can connect with your audience. So the key theme of today is going to be building relationships in the digital marketing age. So we'll go to the next slide here. We all know when somebody walks into your store or into your organization, in Stephanie's case, the library, or, maybe they're just visiting your website. We want them to have a wow experience. We want them to be excited about what we do. And when they have this wow experience, it's a great time for us to entice them to stay in touch. So you've probably all heard the saying that, 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. And so those are going to be the 20% of your customers who had a wow experience and really want to get engaged with you. So once, we've provided this experience, we've enticed them to stay in touch, and we've engaged with them, this helps drive what we call social visibility. So whether it's, your old-fashioned word-of-mouth marketing, which is huge, or if it's on social media, the new kind of word-of-mouth marketing, this is going to drive how many people hear about you, and it will bring in new prospects. Now, there's a right way and a wrong way to go about this, though. So I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of mine from high school. So we won't name her, but she recently started selling these kind of dietary supplements and, things for losing weight and building muscle and all that kind of good stuff. And we used to talk on the phone, probably once a month. She lives a ways away, but, we'd talk, we'd catch up. And when she started selling these products, she gives me a call and she asked me if I'd like to buy some. And, of course, I want to be supportive and I want to check it out. I've never heard of this company before. So I make a few orders from her. But now it's gotten to the point where every time she calls, she is asking me, hey, do you want to reorder? And I don't quite have the heart to tell her that I still have like 2 industrial-sized bags of protein powder that I'm probably never going to go through. And so it becomes a little frustrating. And sometimes when I see her calling now, I don't always want to pick up. I miss the conversations where we really connected, we caught up about our lives, and now it's just all about the selling. So our goal is to not let that happen with you. We want people to be excited about their communication with you. We want to help you nurture your relationships with your clients, and we want to help keep bringing them back in the door. So that's the overall goal of today. Now, before you start on anything with your marketing plan, there are 3 questions that you need to address. The first is, who are you trying to reach? Who is your audience? The more you know about your audience, the better. It's that classic, if you know for whom to write, you know how to write. The second question is, what do you want them to believe? What do you want them to think about your company? Do you want them to think you're fun and engaging? Do you want them to smile when they think about you? Do you want them to think you're very professional? Do you want them to think you're very casual? Are you the best place to get the best deal? Once you've defined that, you know how to start writing your message. Now, this third question is the one a lot of people forget. It's the why should they believe it. So you have to back up whatever message you're trying to convey with evidence. Now, this could be, if you want them to think you're fun, maybe on your social media page you tie in a little bit about your business with, puns or a cute cat picture. If you want them to think you've got the best deals, maybe you're promoting a great deal on your website if you have an e-commerce site. There are a lot of ways to back it up, but you need to make sure that you are backing up your message. Testimonials are a great way to do this, but, it's key that you have a plan in place on how you're going to back it up before you actually start posting. So in my email to all of you, there is a handout that is called a creative brief. I usually recommend to the folks that I work with that they fill this out before they get started posting, emailing, anything like that. It's just a great way to help you get centered and to make sure you're actually achieving the goals that you want to achieve. So once you've reached the end of an email campaign or the end of a social media campaign about a certain topic, I want you to go back to this creative brief and look at it, look at what you filled out, and see, is this what I did? So if you have any questions about that creative brief, feel free to ask me. Now that you've got that, it's time to look at the tools that you can use to reach your audience. Email marketing is where we're going to start talking today. And email marketing is wonderful because you can reach anybody through email. 91% of people actually say that they like getting emails from companies that they have a relationship with. Now, this isn't necessarily true for, if they're not connected to you, but most of the time people love getting those emails. What they're looking for is useful, interesting, informative content. And here's the most important part. When it comes to email marketing, they're looking for tailored content. So they're looking for things that are specifically interesting to them. If you use an emailing tool like Constant Contact or MailChimp, it's really important to have your list segmented, your list of contacts segmented into lists by interest. For example, Grow Nebraska does this. We have a list of people who are interested in our program. So the people who are interested in the work we do with small businesses, the success stories of small businesses, things like that. And then we have a separate list for people who are mainly interested in buying Nebraska products. There is some overlap, but it's not always overlapping. So if we want to send it to everyone, we can send information to everybody. But if it's specifically, here's a big deal that we're offering on our e-commerce site, we only send it to the people who are interested in shopping. This way, people are only getting the content that most interests them. And you can see on that slide, I do have a sample of one of our e-commerce emails that we send out. So one of the key things to keep in mind when you're creating email content, if this is how you have chosen to reach your audience, make sure you only have a single call to action. So if you try to include too much information in a single email, people aren't going to focus. They probably won't click through the whole email. You got to keep it simple. That whole KISS acronym, always important. So it's better to send more emails with less content in each one than one email that has a million different stories, because you're probably not going to get people clicking on what you want them to click on. If there's a single focus, that's exactly what they're going to see. And this can be used by anybody. Email is an effective marketing tool for companies who are doing business-to-business advertising, business-to-consumer advertising, for nonprofits, especially when they're looking to get donations. It's just a great overall tool. Are there any questions on email marketing right now? We'll get into it a little bit more. All right, we'll keep moving. So the next set of tools to look at is social media. So, there's a lot of social media platforms. We're especially right now getting into Periscope, which is video. It's owned by Twitter. It's really exciting. But since we only have an hour here, I'm just going to go through the top 6 social media platforms, which are Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Google+. And these all have different audiences. So I do have a chart in the presentation. You can go more in depth on these if you'd like. But what I normally recommend for any business is if you don't have a Facebook page, get on Facebook right away. It has the widest audience. Their ad, if you do an ad through Facebook, they do allow you to tailor it almost, to the point where you could get down to just the 300 people in the world who are interested in some niche market. It's absolutely wonderful. Or if you want to go broad, it's really easy to reach a wide audience on Facebook as well. It's great for sharing. You can use it for text, photos, links. Video is getting huge on Facebook. Video is probably the biggest trend we're seeing in marketing right now. Facebook now has a live option. You can do live broadcasting for video, and that has just been taking off. It's great for engaging people, increasing visibility, and it has a large audience. LinkedIn, on the other hand, while I do recommend people have personal LinkedIn accounts, they're great for connecting if you want to create business partnerships. It's very business focused. So if you're trying to sell a product, say you have a jam or a jelly, LinkedIn might not be the place to sell that sort of product. It's better for sharing news, maybe a little bit of product information or testimonials. If you have a service business, you do want to be on LinkedIn. And it's great for finding thought leadership, joining groups, getting comments, getting advice. All around wonderful tool, but limited audience. Twitter does have a wider audience. It's great for sharing text, news, photos, and links, and they do now have Periscope, so you can do video on there as well. You can also link your Instagram account to Twitter, which makes it a little easier. Post once, get twice the reach. It's great if you want to retweet, so you're curating content instead of creating it, which can save you time. And it helps with your reputation building. Pinterest is more for women, especially crafters. They're often looking for how-tos, tips, ideas, and we have seen a rise in the amount of product purchases that have been coming from Pinterest. So if your main target audience is women, especially women between the ages of probably 25 and 45, Pinterest is a good idea. Instagram is more focused on young adults. This is wonderful if you have great visuals. If you don't have a lot of visuals in your business, you may or may not want to be on Instagram. But people love seeing pictures of other people. They love getting behind-the-scenes looks at what you're up to. And it's a great place to link to products on your website, and you'll generate a lot of likes and comments. Google+, while probably not the most popular social media platform, is important, and we did include it in this list for one main reason. Google+ is obviously owned by Google, and we all want to get better indexed on their search engine. So whenever you post on Google+, most of the people who are going to see that post organically, other people who are on Google+, will be men, usually people who work in marketing or IT. But Google uses these posts to archive information about your business. So we always describe Google like Pac-Man. It loves to see new content. It loves to just keep eating it up. And it just goes around looking for those little bubbles to chomp down on. So whenever you're posting on Google+, Google sees that, hey, this is an active business. We can archive this information. We'll, make their company show up higher in the search results. So even if you're not the most active on Google+, if you don't see a whole lot of engagement on there, you feel like maybe this isn't the best way to build relationships, it can still be effective for people who are just Googling around and looking for somebody like your business. So we're going to go back. We have that worksheet. We have those 3 questions. Who are you trying to reach? Before you pick out what platforms you're going to use, whether it's email marketing, Facebook, Twitter, anything like that, consider where they are. We want to connect with our audience, and one of the most important ways we can connect with them is by communicating with them on their preferred platform. Now, I know it can seem a little overwhelming, if you think, well, I need to be on all of these. That can be very time-consuming, and that can be very difficult. So what I recommend is picking one or two to start with and make sure you're doing it well before you add on another platform. You can always add in more marketing. Are there any questions about the audiences and what people are looking for on the different social media platforms? Okay, we'll keep going. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You've filled out your creative brief. You've figured out how to reach your audience, who they are. So it's time to start emailing and start posting. But, it's kind of hard to determine what you're supposed to actually put out there. So here are some tips to help you get started. On social media, what we recommend is using the 50%, 30%, 20% rule. What this means is that 50% of your posts are going to be conversational. They're going to promote engagement. They're going to get you likes on your page. They're not going to be selling. So my friend who sells that protein powder and all that kind of good stuff, she's skipping this step. Instead of starting up a conversation, catching up with me as a friend, we've been friends for years, she's just going straight to the selling. You can't ignore the conversation. We want to build a relationship. So, you wouldn't go up to your friends and constantly just be trying to sell. 30% of your posts need to be providing value to your fans. So what this means is you're giving them some way to help them achieve success. This shows that you care about who they are and what they're trying to do. So, for example, Stephanie, with your library, maybe this post would be, hey, stop in, we have computers you can use. Or, hey, stop in on the third Thursday of the month and you can listen to this free training. Something like that. And then the last 20%, this is the last 20% where you are actually flat out selling. You're saying, hey, we're looking for a donation. We'd love it if you could help us out. Or, hey, we have this special on this book that we wrote. You should buy it. And when you use the 50-30-20 rule, you'll see higher engagement than if you were just posting, maybe once a week that you're just trying to sell. Based on which platform you're using, we do recommend different amounts of posting. So, for example, on Facebook, you probably don't want to post more than twice a day, and they need to be at least 3 hours apart. We usually recommend only posting once a day or once every other day. You don't want to be flooding people's news feeds, otherwise they'll take you out. Twitter, on the other hand, it's encouraged for you to be posting 3 to 7 times a day. It's very much more fast-paced, and it's a great way to connect with that fast-paced audience. For email, one of the biggest complaints, one of the main reasons people opt out of email lists is if you're emailing too frequently. So, Constant Contact recently asked 1,400 people why they opted out of an email list they had been on, and 69% said it was because they were getting too much. Now, these were companies that were emailing more than once a day. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't want to do that. What we usually recommend is if you have a newsletter, only have it go out once a month. Emailing every other week is encouraged. Very few people want to get an email from you every single day. So just keep that in mind. When you're planning, think how often you would like to get an email from a company you're interested in. and set that expectation. The other reasons why people opt out of email lists is 56% said the content was no longer relevant to them. So if you have people on your email list, we'll use Stephanie as an example again, say they moved out of your community and they'll probably no longer be going to your library. That would be a point where they see the content's no longer relevant to them. So that's an okay opt-out. You don't have to worry about that. 51% of the participants in the survey said they opted out because it wasn't what they expected. So going back again to that story of me and my friend, the reason I'm not picking up a lot of her phone calls anymore is because the conversations are no longer what I expected. It's more about selling. It's less about, things I actually care about, like what's going on in her life. But hopefully the 50-30-20 rule will help you keep your social media posts so that you're not going overboard. And with your emails, so long as you aren't emailing too frequently, you should be all right. If you do panic because you see people opting out of your email list, keep in mind that 2% is a normal opt-out rate. If you're going over a 2% opt-out rate, then you need to kind of look at what you're doing and see if you're doing something that's maybe a little too aggressive, maybe tone it back a bit. But set the expectations of what you're going to be doing early on. So if you have people sign up for your newsletter list, let them know right away that you're only emailing them a newsletter once a month, and then stick to that. If you're going to be posting specials on your Facebook page, let them know you'll be doing that, say, every Thursday, and then stick to that. The more you can fulfill their expectations, the better. So our next tip, if you're having trouble coming up with content, we have 3 questions that you can ask yourself to help generate content. The first question is ask yourself what's new at your business. What's going on that's exciting that they can get excited about with you? The second question, ask yourself how you've recently helped somebody achieve success. So say, for instance, in one of our stores, a lady came in and she needed a wedding present. One of the ways that we help our customers achieve success is we help them come up with custom gift baskets or engraved glassware that they can use for situations like this. So we love to share those stories. We show people who we are by what we actually do. And this is a great social media post. Great email as well, so long as you tie it in and say, if you need a wedding gift, stop by our store, do a custom order online, here are your options. So not only have we helped somebody achieve success in the past, proving to them why they should believe our message that will help them, we're also giving them the options to take advantage of that. The third question is think about what questions or advice that you've been asked recently. So if a lot of people have been asking you, for example, on our website we sell packs of popcorn, which a lot of people these days don't know how much a pack is. So a great social media post that we could do is explaining what a pack is and saying, if you're having a party, this is a great size bag of popcorn to buy. The next tip, if you're really stumped, ask your audience. So a great way to build a relationship is to let them know you value their opinions. So if you don't know what to post on your Facebook page, go ahead and ask your audience what they'd like to see, and then follow through. Take their suggestions, and they'll see, hey, they listened, they cared. They're really working on this relationship with me. It's a great way to connect. And finally, the sooner you start, the sooner you can analyze. So maybe you're not sure if you should be emailing yet. Maybe You don't have 100 people on your contact list for emailing, or maybe you don't have a whole lot of fans on your Facebook page. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and get started. The sooner you start, the sooner you see what people respond to, what they like, what they dislike, and the sooner you can tailor that so that you improve your relationship with your audience. So, now if you don't have a lot of time, I really recommend curating content. So what this means, what curating content is according to Constant Contact, it is the act of discovering, gathering, and presenting digital content that surrounds a specific subject matter. So, for example, at Grow Nebraska, we work with a lot of clients. We don't always have time to write our own articles. So one thing our CEO does every morning at 6 a.m. is she will go into her Twitter account and she will retweet articles about, things pertaining to small business. And this shows our audience that we are, an expert in the subject matter, but we don't have to spend, an hour or two writing an article. We just use somebody else's. Now, a lot of people ask, is this plagiarism? And no, not if you give credit to the source. We always give credit to the source. So if you're sharing the content, make sure you link back to their website. Make sure you give them the credit that they're due. It'll still help build your reputation, and you can save some time. So this is also great for building relationships. So it's the you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back theory. So for example, Grow Nebraska partners with Open for Business magazine out of Grand Island. Or Hastings, I think they're out of Hastings. But they're Central Nebraska's resource for business owners, people involved with business. So oftentimes, we'll repost their articles, especially when they're articles about our members, and we'll give them credit. And then in turn, they post about us, post about our events, and we all share the love. This is a great way to expand your reach and to really help build that relationship. Okay. So, and on social media, this does wonders. 90% of businesses who do these things see increased exposure and improved sales from social media. So this is effective. The more you're building relationships, the better. That's because social media influences decisions. 74% of shoppers online rely on social networks to guide their purchase decisions. 55% share their purchases on social networks, and 68% of followers online will learn more about a charity if they see a friend posting about it. So across the board, no matter what industry you're in, the better you harness these tools, the more it's going to do for you. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about saving time. That's the biggest complaint I hear is that, I want to build these relationships. I want to connect with my followers and my fans, but it just takes so much time. If you take a few minutes and you learn and you plan, it'll save you a lot of time in the long run. So we're going to talk about ways that you can do that. The very first tool that's going to save you some time is filling out this creative brief. So the creative brief handout that I included in the email, it's a great way to help keep you focused, to help keep you on target, to really be intentional. The next tool is to use a scheduler. So we'll start by making a calendar. And when we're making our calendar, we're going to follow that 50-30-20 rule. So I do have a sample calendar in my presentation. And you'll see on Monday we have like a motivational quote. So this is just a sample of Facebook posts. So this isn't everything. But on Monday we have a motivational quote. So that's conversational. That's part of the 50%. This is getting people engaged. It's getting them to like your page, to see, that you're a positive, upbeat sort of company. On Tuesday, we ask them question, again, a very conversational, did you know? Or we try to provide value to fans, part of that 30%, by offering them some tips, something that could help them in their daily lives. On Wednesday, again, we're trying to promote that conversation. We ask them to do a fill in the blank. On Thursday, we promote a sale. So this is that 20% where we're actually selling. And then on Friday, we have another fun fact, something conversational, something to get people excited and engaged in the page. And then, have a glass of wine to celebrate. Once you've got this down, you are going to need to try and build your list. So a lot of people have more contacts than they realize. All the people that you have done business with, they can be part of your email list. You can invite them to like you on social media. You can invite them to sign up for your newsletter. You'll want to follow them back. It does need to be a reciprocal relationship. So if they like your page, go ahead and like theirs back. Find out what's going on where they work or, with something that they care about. Helps build the relationship, helps you to engage them. The better you know your audience, the better you're going to do. Then add your links to everything. So if you send out emails, make sure you include in your emails your social links so that they can like you on your different platforms. Make sure you have a link for them to sign up for your newsletter. Invite them to engage with you. And make it easy to share. If you're using a tool like Constant Contact, your emails have share buttons in them so that people, say they get a promotional email, you're offering a sale on a product, all they have to do is click one button and they can share it with all of their friends. It's a really great way to increase engagement, increase promotion, and it's less work for you. And you can save time using other simple tools as well. For those of you who haven't seen on Facebook, Facebook pages do have a built-in scheduler now. And Facebook loves it when you use their scheduler. So if you are planning out your social media calendar and you've got about a week's worth of posts, go ahead and type them out in Facebook. And instead of hitting post, you'll hit the little down arrow next to it, and you'll hit schedule. Then you can pick the day and the time that it's going to go out. This will save you a lot of time in the long run. You can set aside 20 minutes to schedule all your posts for the week, and hey, you're good to go. Now, if you're using other social media platforms, there are other tools you can use. One of the ones that Grow Nebraska uses is called Hootsuite. So Hootsuite, you go on their website, they'll tell you it's a paid service, you have to buy a package. You don't. You have to dig a little bit, but they do have a free option that will allow you to have 3 platforms linked for free. So we currently use it for our LinkedIn, our Instagram, and our Google+. This ensures that we're posting regularly on there. We can schedule our posts ahead of time. It makes it a lot easier on our staff. With Instagram, I will say, though, it'll just remind you that they need to go out. You do have to hit a certain button on your phone. You have to have the app on your phone. You'll hit a button, and it'll post the post that you scheduled in Hootsuite. It will not automatically post. For every other platform that they do, it just automatically goes out when you tell it to. Constant Contact also has a thing called Simple Share. So you say you want to post your newsletter to your social media platform. You can go ahead and link that up, and when you're scheduling the email to go out, You can also schedule it to post on your social media platforms. These are also great ways to get analytics. Everything we do with this, we want to be able to measure. Like I said before, you fill out that creative brief to set up your goals, figure out what you want to do. We do need to go back and see whether or not it actually worked. A lot of these tools have built-in analytics, which will help you determine if you're doing that. Constant Contact will let you see how many people opened your email, how many people clicked on things in your email, what they clicked on, so you can see what worked and what didn't. Facebook Insights does the same thing. It shows you your reach for your post, and it helps you figure out what worked and what didn't. Hootsuite does the same thing. You can generate reports seeing on Twitter or on LinkedIn or Google+, what was most popular. So we're going to go through Hootsuite just very briefly. You can create different streams. So here you can see all the different Twitter streams. You can see all the scheduled posts. You can see what you've sent out in the past. You can see how many people have shared what you posted, how many people have mentioned you in posts, and you can see if they've directly messaged you. You can follow different lists of people that you are interested in learning more about. It's a great tool. And then it will also show you the engagement. So if anybody has liked your post, if anybody has sent you a direct message in response to one of your posts, it'll let you know which ones were most effective. And then, if I can go to the next slide here. Like I mentioned before, the analytics are wonderful. You do need to watch your analytics. This is something I see clients forget about all the time. They do things, they say, oh, this worked, but if you look at the numbers, it really didn't, or the other way around. Look at the hard facts to see whether or not your advertising was effective. And don't forget to consider, because maybe you did something absolutely wonderful, and you just forgot about it. A year goes by, and you want to run the same promotion, but you don't look at the numbers from last year. You won't see that, hey, you did it really well last year, and you could do that again. And you try something new that may or may not work. So keep track of your numbers, keep track of what worked and what didn't. Reuse it if you need to. All right, so I know I went a little quick there. Are there any questions?
Heidi?
Yes.
This is Jean. On the posting, you said there was one service that you can't automatically post through Hootsuite. You have to push a button to send the post. Was that Google Plus or some of the others?
Instagram is the only one on there that it'll send you a notification on your phone, and you have to confirm that you want to post it before it will post.
Instagram. Okay, thank you.
Oh, and I was going to make sure to mention to all of you, if you don't currently use a service like Constant Contact, I can get you set up with a free trial. And while you're using the 60-day free trial and beyond, if you decide to keep the service, we can set it up so that I can come in and help you out with your email marketing, with your social marketing, everything like that, if you would like.
I'll put in a plug for you. I'm using MailChimp now because it's free for what I'm doing. But I've used Constant Contact for a client, and it's wonderful. It's got lots of bells and whistles and very easy to use and lots of backup help. it's a great service.
Mhm. Yeah, we actually at Grow Nebraska we use both Constant Contact and MailChimp. And I mean, if you have a small email list, MailChimp might be all that you need. Constant Contact is great though, especially if you have events, if you like to do the social sharing, things like that. That's where Constant Contact really shines. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, if you enjoyed this training, if you would like some more in-depth training, I would really recommend to all of you too, if you're interested, Grow Nebraska is offering a half-price trial membership. This offer is only good through June 15th, and it gives you access to one-on-one trainings with our staff if you need them. You also get discounts on our trainings across the state. If you'd like to learn more about marketing, that's a great way to go. Otherwise, I do recommend you check out our additional Third Thursday trainings. They are free. They are the third Thursday of every single month. You just need to register to get the call-in information. All right. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I'll send out the recording of this presentation along with my contact info shortly after this call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.